I am Michael Lawson. I'm an MA candidate in history here at ETSU, and I'm very happy and excited to share with you my research. My current thesis is called Children of a One-Eyed God, Impairment in the Myth and Memory of Medieval Scandinavia. As a young child, I was fascinated by mythology, especially Norse mythology. I thought the idea of these super powerful gods who fought for us and lived like normal humans was just an incredible thing in my young mind. But as I grew up and as I continued to have this fascination with the stories, and the more I read, the more I realized that there was a common current that went through the mythology. All of the mythology, all of the gods have some type of impairment, whether it be missing an eye or missing a hand or portion of their hearing or being completely blind. Yet they're still gods. And this fascinated me. So when I decided to come and be a historian and start studying history, I latched on to Scandinavia in particular, and I wanted to know more about their people. And their people, as I found through the history, also had their share of impairments and lived normal, full lives despite these. So my research, I feel, is very important because, number one, it represents impaired individuals in history. In the United States alone, 12.6% of our population have some type of disability. History, as they say, is written by the winners, but it's also written by the able body. A lot of these folks never get the chance to have their voices heard. So I feel that this research is important for that fact. Number two, it also examines the dynamics of power, how disability becomes a thing, how people get subjugated, how different groups within a society become less than others. The next point, I believe it also lets us look at the Dark Ages through a different lens. We consider the early Middle Ages especially as the Dark Ages, as a time when things were horrible, where life was horrible, where everyone had to struggle to survive. But in fact, if people who came from Scandinavia, where we know the Vikings came from, such a savage and bloodthirsty people, were able to have such a progressive view on impairment and disability, what can that tell us about other societies? And lastly, it explores the relationship between memory and identity. In other words, how we perceive ourselves, the stories that we tell ourselves, and the stories that we latch onto, and how we identify ourselves as a society because of that. We do this in modern times. What stories do we tell ourselves, and those stories we begin to believe about ourselves that make us who we are? In particular, this is very poignant in the treatment of disability in the Middle Ages and how they viewed themselves. But thank you so much for your time.